This video explains how to add and subtract weeks from and to a date object using the Python programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the Python code. As a first step for this tutorial, we need to import datetime and timedelta from the datetime module, as you can see in the first line of code. And then we also need to create an example datetime, as you can see in the next line of code. So in this case, I'm creating a datetime object that contains the date of today. And for this, I'm using the today function, and I'm storing the output of the today function in a new data object that I'm calling my date. And then I'm using the print function to print our date and time object below the code box. And then you can see that I'm recording this video at the 16th of January 2023 at 11:02:28 a.m. Now let's assume that we want to add a certain number of weeks to this date and time object. Then we can use the timedelta function, as you can see in the next line of code. And I'm adding the timedelta function to our date and time object that I have created before using the plus operator. And within the timedelta function, I'm specifying the number of weeks that I want to add. So in this case, I want to add 14 weeks. And then I'm storing the output of this in another data object that I'm calling my date weeks added. And I'm printing this data object below the code box using the print function. And then you can see that we have created another date and time object. You can see that the time of this date and time object is exactly the same as in the previous date and time object. However, the date itself has changed because we have added 14 weeks to our original date and time object. Similar to that, we can also subtract weeks from a date and time object, as you can see in the fourth code box. And the only difference here is that I'm using the minus operator instead of the plus operator. And then once again, I'm using the timedelta function to subtract 14 weeks from our date object. And I'm storing the output of this in another data object that I'm calling my date weeks subtracted. And after printing this new data object below the code box, you can see that we have created another date and time object, which is 14 weeks prior to our original date and time object. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.